we're gonna start now. If you guys haven't joined the Pear Deck yet, you guys should still be able to join it. Like, it won't stop you or anything. And then the code is just gonna be in the upper right hand corner. Um, so basically, this lesson is gonna be more about an introduction to Usaco, and we'll be talking more about what Usaco is and how it works and everything. But first off, there's gonna be no meeting next week because in case you guys don't know yet, next week is Veterans Day and it's actually a holiday. So we don't have school on Wednesday next week. And because we don't have school, we're just not going to have a meeting anyways. So the next time we'll see everybody is in 2 weeks on the 18th instead of the 11th. So we still send out a reminder to remind you guys that there's like no school and no meeting, but just as like a heads up, so there's no meeting next week. And then this lesson's table of contents, we're gonna start off with like a short warm up, and then we're gonna be talking about the USACO, and we have actually a short Google form, and then some problem types, and then we'll go over an example problem and example solution. So first off, for our warm up, in case you guys didn't know, we had a Halloween scavenger hunt this weekend, and so congrats to like Devin and Patrick for finishing the scavenger hunt. But basically, we're just gonna split into 4 breakout rooms, and then in each breakout room, you can work with the other people in your room, help out. If you already like finished one of the questions or challenges already, you can help the other people in your room. And we're gonna like work on some of the challenges for a couple minutes, maybe about 5 minutes or so, and then come back and continue with the lesson. So I'm going to uh basically create the breakout rooms right now, and then hopefully you guys can join and just start working on the problems. If you guys don't know where it is, it's in bit.ly/comsci-hackering. All right, so the warm up is like over. I closed out a breakout room, so hopefully everyone's back in this main room. That might not have went as well as planned, but it's okay. So we're gonna have so this is like a pair deck function basically. So you guys can like write responses like how do you guys think that activity was, the warm up, how are the hackering questions. We aren't going to be like showing these responses. We're just like collecting it as like data kind of, and then we'll just move on to the rest of our lesson. So hopefully you wrote some sort of response because that's pretty helpful. And so I think we're going to continue with the rest of our lesson. So basically, we're going to be talking about the Usaco. So I'm going to quickly run through what it is and just like quickly go over it very brief. Otherwise known as the United States of America Computing Olympiad. So we might have talked about this a bit earlier, but basically it's a computer programming competition and it's for high school students in the US. And they offer 4 competitions during the school year in 4 different divisions. So there's bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. And obviously platinum is like the hardest and everyone starts off in bronze. And if you do well enough in a certain competition, you can advance to the next division. So this is what the schedule of the contests look like. This was last year's schedule. They haven't actually posted this year's schedule yet, so we don't know anything about it, but we can go off what last year's schedule had. As you can see, the first competition started in December, and the last one, the US Open, was in March or the end of March. The first 3 competitions are easier than the US Open. The US Open's a bit harder, although it has the same format and rules. So basically, all you need to know is that there's 4 competitions from December to the end of March, and in each competition you can like level up to the next division. And if you do well enough and you're like in platinum or something, you might get invited to the training camp, and then you could be selected to represent the US in the International Olympiad, which is like worldwide. Are you back?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So I think my internet connection went out because everything just kind of died temporarily, but somehow it didn't break the Zoom. So I think we just continue like normal. The Pear Deck did end though because I had to close it. So I'll just present regular slides instead of a Pear Deck, and we'll just finish the meeting, hopefully, if that works. So hopefully you guys can see these slides. So these are the same slides. It's just not a Pear Deck anymore. So I was over here. So basically those were the schedule. That's the schedule. And we're going to ask you guys what the benefits you guys thought they were, and you guys could answer. But obviously we're not going to do that now. So I'll just quickly go over. So mainly the Usaco is beneficial. For example, if you want to put on your college application, because it does look pretty good, especially if you can make it to like a different, a higher category or like division. And so basically that's like one major benefit, as well as the fact that you can practice and get much better at your problem solving skills. And it really helps out, especially if you are trying to like major in computer science, or your target is to work in the computer science field later in the future. So how you can prepare is you can practice via previous competitions, and they do have a training website, and we'll talk about those later, and you guys can find these quite easily if you guys want to. So now, Josh, can you send the form in the chat? So basically, we're gonna ask you guys to quickly fill out this form. Um, uh, and basically it's like an interest form. So it asks if you have experience in USACO before and what division you are if you do. And it also asks like if you don't have experience in USACO, are you interested in USACO this year? So basically with that information, we'll figure out if we're going to be like teaching and focusing more on the USACO in the following lessons before like March or whatever, or should we just continue as regular? So hopefully you guys have filled out that form already. If you guys haven't, you guys can take your time. But I'm gonna quickly go over. So to create a Usaco account, you can go to usaco.org, and then there's a big button that says register for new account. Then you just fill out some information, and it's pretty quick. And to fill out, and you need to make a new account, a separate account for the training website. So that's at train.usaco.org, and you can click the button that says register here for a username/password. Um, Note that these are 2 different websites, and if you want to create like an account for each, you're going to have to create 2 separate accounts, I believe. They also should be pretty quick, and you can do those later too. And then problem types. So in the Usaco competition, you're going to be seeing a bunch of different problem types. So there's actually a study conducted a couple years ago, or actually a while ago, and it just showed that each Usaco problem was like narrowed down into 16 different categories, as shown here. You probably don't understand a lot of them because I don't understand a lot of them either, but they're basically all like various algorithms, and it's like the math concept of how to solve a certain problem. And if you understand and can master that algorithm, all you need to do is convert it into code, and you'll be able to answer or get the question correctly, if that makes any sense. And so now I think Josh is going to screen share, and he's going to quickly go over an example problem.
Okay, so this is one of the example problems in the train.usaco.org. And so I'm just gonna quickly explain the problem solution, and then afterwards I'll give you some time to try to come up with an algorithm to solve it. So first of all, you probably don't want to read it, so I'll just go to the basics. You have two lines of input. There is the first line. I'll zoom in. So the input format, they will give you two strings, and the story is that the first one is going to be the name of a comet. The second one is going to be the name of a group. And when you convert each letter in the comet to numbers, so using the A1Z26 format, so A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4. Once you convert them all to numbers and you multiply the 6 numbers together, and then you mod 47. So you divide by 47, get the remainder. If that number is equivalent to the group name and then the same process, then you output go. And if they're different, you output stay. So down here they have an example explanation down here. So a comet Q, when you apply the A1Z26 format to it, you get C is 3, O is 15, M is 13, E is 5, T is 20, and Q is 17. Multiplying all these numbers up, you get 994,500. Mod 47 is 27. And then your group, as you can see up here, is HVNGAT. And doing the same process, you get 8 times 22 times 14 times 7, 1, and 20. And that is equal to 344960. When you mod 47 to that, you also get 27. And since these two numbers are equal, you have to output the word go. But if they were different, say if this was 28, then you will output stay. So now we might split you up into breakout rooms, and I want you to discuss ways you think to solve the problem. So like algorithm steps, how are you going to get the numbers, how are you going to multiply it, and how are you going to run the entire program.
Okay, yeah. So as Josh said, we're gonna split into breakout rooms, but because this stuff is like you guys probably are a bit confused, especially because you guys have no idea like what just happened with the problem. So I think we're gonna just split into two breakout rooms, and then so I'll be in one breakout room and Josh will be in another, and then Josh will share screen and like so you guys can read the problem statement on his, and I'll do the same on in my breakout room or in the other breakout room. If so, um, give me a second to create these breakout rooms. All right, so now I'm gonna open the room. So if Josh, you can do that, that'd be great. Nice.
Anyway, so let's try to solve it as a group together since there wasn't much individual discussion. So someone did bring up that the first thing you want to do is actually convert the little word, the comet Q, into numbers. So if anyone has any idea of how to do that, feel free to mention it. So the problem is, how would you convert letters into numbers? So we have some solutions in the chat. Um, Yeah, but the thing is how would you know what letter is what number? How would you know that C is 3? These are some answers, but they're kind of really broad. We want to go a bit more specific, and how would you actually figure out that C goes with the number 3? How would you convert C to 3, basically?
It would take really long, but you could assign the string to the value.
But how would you do that? How would you give it the number? How would you give each letter a number?
You do like A equals 1 and B equals 2.
So you're saying you want to do like if like a dot car at is 0, like that, and then you just run through every scenario. Like that, or you run through every scenario and check the letters one by one. Is that what you mean? Yeah, so I'm gonna assume it is, and obviously this is a way you can do it, but it's going to be very inefficient. Since if you think about it, once you actually run through all 26 combinations and gotten it for the very first character, now you need to run 26 again to get the second one, then the third, then the fourth, fifth, sixth, and then the second string, you do it all over again. And if, let's say, the problem was as nice and it was one of those very long ones where it's like 50 cases, 5,000 letters per case, it's going to be really difficult. So here are some other ways you can do. So first of all, you need to know a few methods. The car app method, what that one does is basically you give it an index and it'll tell you what character it is at that index. So pretending that the string is an array, this is index 0, index 1, index 2. So index 0 will be the first one. So that is kind of helpful. So what you can do with this knowledge is one of the solutions is that you can create another string, like a master string that contains every letter, right? And then you can get another method is this. So what this one does, index of, basically you give it actually hang on, this has to be an array. Pretend this is an array. All right, this doesn't work syntactically, but pretend it actually works somehow. But index of, what it does is when you provide an element, it'll give you back the index position of the element. So if it was B, then it'll split back 1. And then all you gotta do is add 1 to it, and you'll get the letter to number conversion. Another thing you can do is a bit more fancy, is you can convert it into a byte. So since if you have characters are primitive types. And primitive types, they're stored on the computer in sequences of bytes. So you convert it to a byte, basically, a number. So it would, how would you do that is you'd have a variable to store it. Oh, wait. Okay, so this is a bit more fancy. You might be able to figure this out, you might not, but basically, since they're characters, they're stored in bytes, and if you subtract a from it, then it will basically lower it down to starting with a is 0 and b is 1. So a minus a is 0 because they're the same letter. B, the byte for b, actually let me see if we have that. Actually, I don't know. Okay, so you can see here, the increase up. So actually, let's take it to space. You can see that A has a 41 as the value, B is 42, C is 43, and D is 44. So if you have, if you take D minus A, that'll be 44 minus 41, that gives you 3. And then you add 1 to it, since it can't, you add 1 to it, so you get 4, and D is the 4th letter of the alphabet, so that works fine. Same for C. C is 43 minus 41. That's 2. 2 plus 1 is 3. C is the third letter. So that's one way you can do it. And then once you have all the numbers set out, I'm just gonna after you have all the numbers assigned using for statements, so it can do something like this. And then with this statement, basically what it does is it runs through every single letter in the particular string, so string A and string B. It goes through all of them. It assigns the number to the integer car num, and then it multiplies it. Since you have to multiply it, and for that to work out, you also have to yeah, cool. So you can start with 1, and every time you get a new number from the letter, you multiply it to the comment. So that'll be like 1, and then the first one's 3, so 1 times 3, and then O is 15, so 1 times 3 times 15, all in on the cube. And at the end, comment will be the product of all the letters in comment cube. And after that, all you have to do very simply is just compare the two. If comment q, oh wait, if not comment q, if comment mod 47 equals mod 47, then you would do something. And if it's not, then you do something else. So that would be the entire problem statement. This is basically the entire structure of it. And this is how you would, or how I would solve it. You might have different methods, but this is basically the general outline of how to solve the right thing. Yeah.
So I think we're done, right, Josh? Josh?
Yeah, we're done.
All right, so yeah, we're done. So at this point, we did go a bit over time, so sorry about that. But basically, we'll see you guys in 2 weeks because next week is Veterans Day, and so we're gonna close the meeting now. I believe Zach, you're gonna stay behind, but everyone else, we'll see you guys in 2 weeks.